There we go. It's a little past 7. I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the Larkspur Planning Commission. Today is Tuesday, August 26, 2025. So the first item on the agenda is a roll call.
Steph?
Here.
Commissioner Campbell?
Here.
Commissioner Swisher?
Here.
Commissioner Chalmers? Here. And Commissioner Hull?
Here.
You have a quorum?
Excellent. And full attendance. The next matter is any public comments on matters that are not on the agenda. Anything that is not on the agenda, now would be the time to speak. Hearing nothing. We'll ask for the Community Development Director's report next.
I don't have anything to report.
Well, all right.
What about, is today your last meeting?
We don't know yet.
We're not
May
sure.
or may not be.
It's possible that it might be your last meeting. Okay.
Maybe might not look too happy about that, but
Well, all right. So then no crying. Okay. Next, we will go to the next item, which is public hearings. And the first item on the agenda is 5 Ranch Lane, APN 021172-20. Nora Fry is the applicant and Gabriel Dunn is the owner. And it is a request for a design review to allow a 638 square foot addition, second floor, and remodel of an existing 2,285 square foot residence and attached garage. It's 0.39 floor area ratio proposed, and it is 0.40 permitted. And the remodel includes an expansion of the front porch entry and changes to windows on various elevations. The second story addition would match the height of the existing second story. Can we have the report, please?
Thank you, Chair Swisher. Good evening, Commissioners. I am here to present Carrie Swanstrom for Swanstream Studios. I'll be presenting this item tonight. As was introduced, this is a design review application that is the only entitlement this project requires. The project is located on the east side of Ranch Lane, which is north of Williams and east of the Northwest Pacific Multi-Use Trail on the north side of town. The property is oriented with the frontage to the west. And as noted, the houses in the staff report, the houses on the block are just the 3 that are on Ranch Lane before it turns the corner, which include both 1.5 story and 2-story homes currently. The project requests to add 638 square feet on the second floor of the structure. The current second story is just over 500 square feet. That would change the home from a 4-bedroom, 3-bath to a 5-bedroom, 4-bath. The addition, as you can see on the elevations here, would maintain the same height. 30 feet is allowed, and the height of the home would be 25 feet 10 inches, which is what the second story currently is. The project is also proposing some exterior modifications, expanding the front porch by removing the front walkway and ramp, and that is the only site work being proposed at this time. And that would expand the covered area of the porch and the area under roof. There are exterior window modifications, and they would be changing, leaving the front siding as the horizontal and changing the siding on the sides and rear of the home by removing the stucco and changing it to the horizontal siding to match the front of the home. From the site plan, you can see the dark gray in the middle of the screen. That is shows how central to the lot the proposed addition is, and the very small portion of additional covered area at the bottom for the front porch. The floor plan on the first floor would remain would be adjusted through a remodel to accommodate the second floor stairs up, as well as rearranging some of the spaces within that. The garage would stay the same. On the second story, one of the bedrooms of the existing structure would become a playroom, And the addition would house a new bathroom as well as 3 bedrooms, as well as the staircase. And you can kind of see from the drawings here, again, it's central to the building. The garage itself would remain a one-story element. These are the rendered front elevations. The color of the house itself, the field color white, would remain the same, as would the posts and the roofing color, with the dark charcoal, and the front door would change to blue. They would be also updating windows. Some of the windows, as you can see here, and matching. The new addition would match generally with sliders and a casement window being added at the front. The north elevation, you can see the siding change, and they are proposing, I think there are 3 or 4 window boxes on the side and the rear of the home. This is 2 of them, and they would be changed to awning windows. And this is shows the only changes to the second story on the north side, which would add a couple of windows on that second story. The south side, which is a side yard, really doesn't change a lot other than the siding. And the rear does change again, some of those box windows to regular casement windows. And in this are regular casement windows or awning windows, new patio doors, and a couple other updates on this side. But in general, the facade at the front and throughout would remain fairly similar to the existing. With that, that concludes my presentation. I do want to note that we added a couple of conditions for a couple of things that were not yet known, like placement of exterior HVAC, and if they did want to change any landscape in the future, that those need to comply with the city's noise ordinance and water efficient landscape ordinance. And then we will require a survey be done to confirm the size of the property and make sure the FAR matches what is allowed for the site. With that, we recommend that the commission holds a public hearing, take public comment, discuss and approve the project subject to the findings that are included in your staff report.
All right, thank you for that. At this point, I would like to, would the applicant like to speak? Well, I don't think we do. Before, I'm sorry, one thing I did admit, do we have any questions for the staff from us, the planning commission, before we let the applicant speak? Do you?
No.
Amazing. Okay. All right. So now we'll let.
Oh, we need it for the recording.
Yeah, hi everyone. Gabe Dunn, good to meet everyone. We've owned 5 Ranch Lane since March, and we is my wife and our 3 kids. We've got a 4-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and now a 9-month-old. When we first found 5 Ranch, we had told our realtor, we gave him a whole checklist of what our dream house would look like and expected him to be searching for 2 or 3 years. And 5 Ranch was the first place he showed us that was a cul-de-sac with neighbors that have kids the same age as ours, walking distance into town, walking distance to the schools. And we'd also told him we are okay with it needing some work. So again, weren't expecting a place to check all of those boxes, and certainly not the first place, but that was 5 Ranch Lane. So super excited about Larkspur, super excited about the location of the house and where we're at. We've been coming up here pretty much every weekend to get to know our soon-to-be neighbors. We came up for the 4th of July parade. We love the town. I grew up in Indiana originally. My wife grew up in a sort of small town in Brazil. So we're currently living in San Francisco, but ready to be out of a city, somewhere that feels closer to home. Anything else that's really useful to add here? Yeah, I think that's it. I'm really excited to be everyone here's neighbor. I think the plan for the house is very much in keeping with the sort of general feel and footprint of it now. We just need a little bit of space, and then a lot of the sort of modifications being done are, the windows have failed. There were some termites and termite damage. The box windows were leaking, so a lot of it's addressing stuff that really needs to be addressed, and then kind of making it our own. Good.
I'm Nora Fry. Is that coming through? I just wanted to add a couple other things besides making this house work for a growing family of 5, having an open floor plan, having a family room, having, as Gabe mentioned, grandparents that live overseas. They like to come for extended periods of time, so there's guest room. It's not really a 5-bedroom, 4-bath house as far as it's only gonna be used for bedrooms. There's 2 working parents and visiting grandparents, so I expect some of those spaces to be able to be used for work and, kind of a permanent guest room. Um, the other thing I'd like to say is that we pretty much designed this to look that it was the way that it was originally intended. Like if, just to balance out the massing and balance out the front elevations, trying to upgrade, the finishes. We're getting rid of stucco on 3 sides and putting hardy plank. We would put hardy plank on the front, but there's so much existing wood that we're just gonna keep wood there. All the windows are gonna be WUI. It's gonna be more fire safe. Um, really looked at the neighbors' houses and tried to make sure the proposed design keeps their privacy. There's a lot of mature trees there. Um, the the distance between the neighbor on the north ranges from about 16 feet 6 inches to 24 feet, and that's because their house is at an angle. The distance, the new distance between the addition and the neighbor to the south is about 32 feet, and the neighbor to the east is about 34 feet. So I think that's pretty much privacy. Even though we're adding windows to the north, the playroom window has like a high sill height, so there should be privacy there. Um, and other than that, I think we just tried to make it work for everybody. And Gabe did reach out to the neighbors, and I gave him the plans, and he reviewed it with them, and they seem like they're fine with it unless we've received anything else. I did check with Carrie a few hours ago, and she hadn't received any notices from any neighbors at all. So I'm here for any questions if you want to.
Thanks. Anybody have any questions for the applicant? Yep. Okay, then we'll bring it back to the commission. We'll start with comments. How about Brock? Let's start since you live sort of near there.
Okay, well, I think the floor plan looks great, works for you. My only comment would be that it seems like you have an opportunity to do something visually that's more interesting, and that may involve some dormers or stepping something back. It's very boxy, and I love your floor plan. It works really well, but it'd be nice to see some detail in the house when you have this opportunity. So that's my thought.
Yeah, Liam?
Yeah, when I was looking at the house, seems like the addition matches what's already there. So I think I can make the findings for design review. Perhaps there's opportunities to do something, some articulation or something, but in terms of the proposed design, I think it's in keeping with the neighborhood, and I think I can make the findings.
Tamara?
I agree with Liam. I mean, I think the existing design of the house, I think what is being proposed is a really nice expansion of that and improvement of that. And I can definitely make the findings for design review.
And Tasha?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see this house being updated. It is an amazing location, as you said, and it's wonderful to see a family coming in to the neighborhood. So welcome. Um, I my initial reaction was not dissimilar from Commissioner Wagstaff, that I think you could do a little more with that addition. You could make it a little bit more interesting. I do understand, especially as you were explaining it at the podium, how you're trying to keep it within the design of the neighborhood, which it does. So I suspect we're all kind of sort of saying something somewhat similar. So I would hate for them to have to come back with a redesign in any possible way. So my thought here tonight would be, if there's something a little bit interesting that they could do, but just work with staff to do it, I would be all for that. So I'll leave it at that.
I think I agree with Brock that the floor plan is great, and I think it's going to work for your family, especially, you know, you have three young kids, and it's a really nice floor plan. Fortunately, you don't live on the outside of the house; you live on the inside of it, so that's awesome. You know, the design is fine. I think it's a vast improvement of what you have. It definitely makes it seems like that second story was probably added on later. I can't imagine that was started at the beginning, was it? Yeah. Really? Yeah, it seems like this is what it wants to be, what you're doing to it now. And yeah, I agree, you know, Brock's an architect, and I think, you know, that looks at things with a critical eye from an architect standpoint. And that's great, but I don't think that we're here to redesign your house. I think that it's nice. I'm totally able to make findings for this. Okay. We want to put a motion up? Oh, and stop. I should stop. Is there any comments? Are there any comments on Zoom?
Oh, yeah, we should have done that before.
No, no comments on Zoom. Okay. Natasha, when do you make a motion? What?
I'll do it.
Tamara, there we go.
I move to approve APN application PLN 25-026 for 5 Ranch Lane, APN 021-172-20 for design review.
And I can second.
Was there any conditions that we had to put on that, or was it, I thought there was something about landscaping that we have to do, or no?
I think they added that.
They're in the
already.
conditions of
They're in the
approval
conditions.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
There was
great.
a landscaping one and something else.
All right, excellent. All right,
Okay.
thanks for seconding it.
You have
We
a
have,
10-day notice.
Commissioner Wagstaff
Well,
or
Or
vote?
the vote, yeah.
I'm going to abstain in hopes that as you go along, you'll look at this and see what's available, what's a possibility.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher,
yes.
Commissioner Chalmers,
I'm going to say yes, but if, consider what Commissioner Wagstaff said.
and Commissioner Hall.
Yes.
Motion carries. And
All right, there's a-
there's a 10-day appeal period. If anyone from the public wishes to appeal, they need to file a form and the appeal fee with the city clerk within 10 calendar days.
I've got a question.
Sure.
So Elise, if the applicants were going to, add some dormers or make some modifications, they would be able to do that through a staff level review,
Given the
right?
direction that you're giving tonight, that staff would feel comfortable reviewing that and approving
Because
that.
I voted in favor of this design, but I'm certainly not opposed to some
Improvement.
question.
more,
Yeah, I
you know,
think if
sort of minor
staff
features.
felt
like-
comfortable with it, given that you've made those comments, I think we'd be fine looking at it at staff level.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
time and budget allows. I mean, obviously
Mm-hmm.
you've got a budget, so. Great, congratulations.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is 129 La Cuesta, APN 070-321-09. Polsky Perlstein applicant, Jennifer Tew is the owner. Request for design review, floor area ratio exception, and slope use permit is to allow for an addition of 134 square feet to an existing basement, 52 square feet added to the first floor, and 82 square feet added to the second floor for a total size of 268 square feet. The FAR will be, would be 0.21 or 4,213 square feet. Whereas 0.062, 1,245 square feet is the maximum. I suspect you're over the FAR now. A slope use permit is required to allow more than 25 cubic yards of grading in conjunction with construction. Can we have staff report?
Yes, give me just a moment. Okay, yes, good evening, Commissioners. The item before you is PLN 25-030 for 129 La Cuesta. And the project is located on the north side of La Cuesta Avenue between Corte Alejo and Corte Ramon. It's on a pretty steeply sloped property. There's a large driveway that comes off of La Cuesta, so there's not a ton you can see from the street. The project proposes to add 268 square feet of additional square footage, which would contain a new elevator with access to all levels of the residence. This does require design review, a floor area ratio exception, and a slope use permit. Unfortunately, I don't have a slide for that right now. I apologize, but I can speak to that. Here is the site plan. I'll try to zoom in here. This darker area, that is the area of the proposed addition. It's on the eastern elevation of the residence and contained within this sort of U of the existing residence here. And here is the first floor plan, which would contain the elevator, access hallway, and a closet. And here's the first floor plan. Excuse me, the prior floor plan was the lower floor plan. This is the first floor plan, which contains the elevator and a room for the mechanical equipment. And then here's the second floor, which has a hallway and the elevator, and then the roof plan next to it on the right. The existing house has a roof pitch of 5 and 12. The proposed addition would have a roof pitch of 1 and 12. And here are the two affected elevations. On the left is the south elevation. The red rectangle there highlights the new roof that's proposed. And then on the right here, this area that's outlined by the dashed line would be the new square footage added that would contain the elevator. There is a new window that's proposed on the second level. It's about 21 square feet of window. The project does require a floor area ratio exception. As the chair mentioned, the current property is over the floor area limit due to the slope of the lot. They're only allowed 0.062 or 1,245 square feet. They're currently at 4,079. With this addition, they'd go to 4,213. There's, I believe it's 114 square feet of the existing residence doesn't count as floor area, and that goes up to moment here, I've got it in front of me, 248 square feet would be exempted from the floor area calculation. The average FAR in that neighborhood is 0.25, and with this addition, that property would still be in the lower third of all the nearby properties in terms of floor area. The project requires 8 cubic yards of grading, which does not on its own trigger a slope use permit, but they did have a slope use permit issued in the past, which the municipal code requires basically that anytime you have had a slope use permit and you're doing further grading, you're required to get another one. You've received no public comments on this project, so staff recommends that the commission hold a public hearing, consider public testimony, and approve the project subject to findings, conditions of approval, and a Class 1 CEQA exemption. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the panel? Not for staff. Anybody? No? Okay, excellent. Can we have the applicant, if they would like to make any comment?
Good evening. I'm Rich Pearlstein with Polsky Pearlstein Architects. My client, Jennifer, too, is sitting. She is not a huge fan of public speaking, so she asked me to do the talking. To begin with, all of you have likely visited the property and noticed The substantial changes to the mature landscaping, with virtually all the removals having been driven by Central Marin Fire's mandate that the property be brought into compliance with the fire safe criteria. This required removal of significant areas of ground level shrubs and low plantings, as well as all the vines that were planted against and near the house walls, as well as substantial tree removals due to the proximity to the building. While the remediation was very expensive, as Jennifer has mentioned, she ensured that all fire department requirements were satisfied in a timely manner, as she was required to do. And now she looks forward to planting a water-wise, fire-safe landscaping design in the near future. To that end, she's working with a landscape architect even now. Prior to beginning our design work on the property, we reviewed the home's development history and familiarized ourselves with the extended approvals and construction process that took place in the 90s. And if any of you have looked into it, there was a lot of back and forth, and it took several years. At the time, there was substantial work put into stabilizing the hillside and addressing historical debris and drainage issues on the upslope areas. We had our geotechnical engineer review the site conditions, and he observed that the uphill debris catchment system seemed well designed and executed, which was a relief to all of us. Our civil engineer reported similarly on the design integrity of the hillside drainage and swale system. These reviews helped to assure Jennifer of the integrity of the existing site conditions, which was very important to her for her safety and her girls' safety. As the new owner of this now 27-year-old property, Jennifer now hopes to make the house her own, with internal remodeling changes and eventually landscaping. One of the highest priorities for her is to provide the elevator access to all floors of her home. We looked at a few alternative designs to provide the elevator installation. The project before you provides the best functionality in terms of not interrupting existing hallway areas, not taking up corners of existing rooms, and significantly reducing the utility. Instead, concentrating the necessary building disruption to this one central area in the U-shaped court, all while having minimal impact to the house as seen from the exterior. We appreciate the staff's support on the project, and we hope that you can support the project as well. That's it. Any questions immediately?
I just had one question. It was just in one of your plans, I wanted to know. There was like it was A1.2, I think. I do it from memory. And it was just that shaded area. What was, this shaded area that's, that seems to envelope the envelope, where the elevators, that shaded area, that, what does that denote?
Oh, it's a hatch for dirt, if you will, or rock, because we're into the hillside at the first floor. So if you took a cut through the property, that's all rock and soil. And if I
Wait, sorry, run that by me again.
Sure. At the first floor, this is all soil because the land is sloping.
Right.
And the proposed is going to be sitting
In-
in that area.
Right. Okay, so that's just earth and soil.
That's
It's not, it's nothing, it's no building or anything there.
That is
Okay,
correct.
great. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I had a question. Near as I could tell, nobody's going to see this.
Near as we can tell.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, it's
Just
a
wanted to confirm that because
I
I
imagined, and
yeah.
Alex even commented. The next neighbor to the downhill is so far below. And the way La Cuesta bends around.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like I couldn't see it, so I wanted to I didn't think anybody could see it, but I just wanted to double check.
All right. Are there any comments from the public? No. All right, let's bring it back to the commission. We'll go the other way this time.
It's a design that it makes sense to me, and nobody's going to see it from the, I see no impact to the neighbors. I see, seems pretty straightforward to me. I feel I can make the findings for the design review.
I'm saying the same thing. It's not visible from the street. It's minor work that doesn't really pose a major impact to the neighborhood. So I can make the findings for design review. For the floor area exception ratio, I think this is just another good example of why we're reviewing the code. And I think Commissioner Campbell will probably give us a more eloquent explanation about why we're looking at it, as he does every meeting. So I could also make the findings for the FAR exception.
Yeah, sure. I actually wasn't gonna talk about it this time, but yeah. So design review, I think I generally agree with the two commissioners that have spoken so far. I do look forward to the day when we don't have to deal with the floor area ratio exception on sloping lots. But for this project, I can make the findings.
I basically echo what Liam said. It was an interesting house and an interesting street to drive up, but it should be also an interesting construction project. But I have no problems with it.
I'm all in favor of increasing accessibility. So for anybody living in the house, it's going to be a huge impact and allow people, if whether they're disabled or not disabled or anybody, as you get elderly, we've decided we're going to put washing machines on our bedroom floors because of that issue of not going into the basement. So I'm all for accessibility. I think it's a good design and it's minimal impact, so I can support it. All right. Liam, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve project number 25-030 at 129 La Cuesta Avenue for design review, floor area ratio exception, and slope use permit.
And I can second. On a roll call.
Commissioner Wexler?
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell?
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Chalmers?
Yes.
And Commissioner Hull?
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously. There is a 10-day appeal period. If any member of the public would like to appeal the application, that you would file an appeal form and the appeal fee with the city clerk.
All right. Congratulations. All right. The next item on the agenda is review penalties for work started without necessary city approval. And we are to discuss the current penalties for building and planning work without permit and provide direction to staff.
So Commissioner Chalmers had asked to put this on the agenda after you had discussed particularly about 3 Heather? It was 3 Heather Way.
Yeah.
To understand what the city does when projects begin without proper approvals. And so I've summarized all the options that the city has in the staff report. Primarily, the penalties are increased application fees for planning permits and building permits. And then the city has other options too, like stopping work at a project site, which costs the applicant money generally. And then we do have the ability to do administrative citations, which can be issued on a daily basis. But generally, when there's a construction project, we're trying to work with the applicant to come in for permits. And so unless they're ignoring us and not coming in for permits, we generally don't use administrative citations and are just trying to use them in order to encourage the applicant to come in and get the required permits. But I'm happy to answer questions or give you more information or just allow you to discuss the situation if you have any recommendations for staff.
I was curious what happened at 32 La Cuesta. Which one?
Oh, that's still under. Is that the Passetti residence? Am I thinking of?
It doesn't say, it just says that they a recent
Oh,
administrative
okay.
citation, 58,000.
Okay, so yeah. That's, they haven't paid yet, but they did work without permit and then didn't come in for the permit. And so they were cited to try to encourage them to come in for a permit, and they still didn't come in for a permit. So the fees began to increase and the penalties increased for a number of violations. And then eventually they appealed one of the citations, but I think the penalty was reduced. It was reduced from a higher amount, but part of it was upheld just to try to keep people coming in for permits.
What happens when, I suppose they can file a lawsuit, but what happens when people don't pay? I mean, do you guys put a
So-
lien on their house?
Yeah, we have one coming up at the next city council meeting. I'm requesting permission to put a lien on someone's house. Actually, a special assessments that it would come due when their property taxes come due, because that's a little more painful. A lien, they might just live in their house until it sells and then eventually we'd get the funds. Sometimes it's more appropriate to do a lien because if it's just, if the city's not that concerned about collecting the money right away, or for example, 15, I don't know if any of you were aware of 15, what street is it? Oh, you approved the project. It was was it Hazel? 15 Hazel. It was an art studio that someone had converted to a single family residence. So that one accrued just a ton of fines, but the owner was going bankrupt and selling it to a bank. And so we did put a lien on that, knowing we'd get paid at some point, and the city did get paid the penalties. Was that listed in the staff?
But
report?
didn't they
If it
appeal?
was.
Didn't they try to appeal that one?
I think he was going to.
With
but
city
he-
council? I thought they
he
went to.
withdrew.
He withdrew
didn't-
it. Oh,
Yeah, he didn't
okay.
actually appeal it. Because some of those, like that particular one, involved a lot of staff time. I'm sure the penalty was greater than the staff time that was involved, but it is a lot of staff time to respond to work without permit. So it's something we would like to discourage and for the applicants too, like 3 Heather Way would have just been so much easier for them had they just come in to revise the plans instead of doing it after the fact. So yeah, there's a hearing coming up for another site on Madrone, in Madrone Canyon that hasn't come in for a permit and hasn't paid attention to any of our citations. In some cases, the city could go in and ask for a court order to actually complete the work, like get a permit.
Did they ever actually do that?
I think it would have to be in a really special case because like if there was a health and safety
Right.
issue involved, or something that needed to be maybe demolished
Mhm.
or a drainage way that needed to be taken care of. But I think we would generally not want to do that because that's a lot of work also.
So what's the sort of, I guess to get a sense of what, we've seen a few of them here, these sort of cases. There are some that don't come before us. How many of these cases are we looking at? Sort of maybe percentage wise, right? Of
Yeah.
people coming in for permits, people not. Do
Um,
our current penalties effectively enforce the rules?
That's a good question.
I-
I think the majority of people come in for applications. I think we're lucky because we live in an affluent community where people can afford to get permits. I think in other communities, they probably just deal with it more because not everyone wants to hire an architect to do big projects. So I think a lot of the applicants here come with uppers. And then also we work on a complaint basis. So there could be a lot out there that we just don't know about.
Sure.
Like we discover some work on resales, but I'd say most sites are not a problem. I think it's more, I would say it's a small percentage that does work without permits.
So you don't really feel this is an issue then, that there's
Or I
not
think
that
it's
many?
adequate the way we're dealing with it.
Okay. That's probably what I think I wanted to hear. This really came about because after 3 Heather Way, there were, I think, a lot of people listening on Zoom or watching on Zoom, and somebody had made the suggestion that the penalties maybe weren't sufficient to incentivize homeowners to come in and get permits. Like if the penalties were high enough, then people wouldn't try and avoid them. And I couldn't answer that question because I don't know if if that was true or not, which is why I brought it up to find out. Like, because this was all new to me. I didn't actually know what the penalties were and how they worked, but what I'm hearing is that we do actually have a number of remedies. Like there's the penalties, but there's also you can take liens on the property, and you can require the work to be completed. So, and it sounds like it's not been an issue for staff. Is that what I'm hearing? That sounds like what I'm hearing. And
Bill?
so you're here.
The
Bill's
building
here too.
officials here.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and also it's not obviously not for me to decide, which is why I wanted the commissioners to sort of talk about it, if it's even an issue. Like,
Well, just to add some more context to the question, Bill Hansel, Chief Building Official. The enforcement is very active, multi-pronged process where so it's really dependent the success and the success of both making sure that people are moving forward with the permits, getting the permits. It's more than just discovering something and then applying a penalty, because it depends upon the code enforcement officer doing their job for things that are identified as work without a permit. But then we also have work that is permitted, but then the scope changes, and whether that is followed through accordingly with revision applications. And we're constantly monitoring the status of all the permits, applications, ones that expired, ones that are current, and looking ahead to see which ones are going to expire so we can notify people. So we're trying to be really proactive so that we don't get to that point where, such as what happened with Heather. And for some context, we're talking about 1,200 permits on, roughly a year. We have about 110 active violation cases where it's gotten to that point that it's that extreme that it becomes actually a code violation rather than just, we're trying to fix it through the application and permitting process already. So if that helps, it's a lot of different things coming into play, and we're trying to make sure people know so that they're not accidentally or passively kind of doing these violations. There are people, given the fact that all the different jurisdictions in Marin County have different ways of approaching this, and there are some that have, reputations for amongst the residents of, well, you don't have to worry about it. You don't even really need a permit. We're far from that because it is, at the end of the day, it's a life safety issue, and it's also a fairness issue between one person being proactive and getting a permit and somebody else not sort of following the rules or thinking it matters really. So
And just out of curiosity, there are different inspections at different stages of construction. So foundation, framing, electrical, close in, what?
right.
And the person who's building is the one who requests the inspection. Is that?
Yeah. So we're really trying to fully utilize Central Square, the permitting system that we have in terms of the record keeping, the ability for more staff members to be able to jump in and see what the status of something is. Whereas previously, on paper, let's say, you would have inspections and job cards in the field, and it was a little bit harder if you were, like even as a building official, for me to just like dip into a project and see where it was. Now the inspector is making those, it depends on the project, how many inspections there are, but we also have more communication with the code enforcement officer checking on the timetable of how long a permit is, when it's going to expire, and we're trying to have more. We are having more communication between the inspector if he sees something that's beyond the scope, because at a certain point there's a tendency for site inspections, given you're going from one job to another job to another job, to just sort of focus at the thing you're inspecting and not to turn around and see maybe some other context of stuff that happened outside of the scope of the work. But it is part of their job, to do that. And we're trying to give, by sharing the workload of identifying, the proper permit for the proper scope of work, we're trying to, assist the single inspector that we have to, support and identify those things, which would require either a follow through or eventually a penalty if it wasn't. And we're also trying to be somewhat, if we notify someone and if they follow through and there's a good faith effort, there's a little bit of flexibility there. So it's not like we just jump on and start applying those things. So penalties, that is.
Good. I think that's good to hear. Like,
Yeah,
that's, yeah,
Um,
good job.
I think this was very helpful. It was helpful for me to hear that the system's working I guess, and you don't really have any issues with it. And I didn't, and it was just for me to hear about all the different remedies. That was also very helpful. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts.
And how are the penalties determined? In other words, I mean, the one on Heather was $17,000.
So there's, and the fee schedule has, the fee schedule, which is annually adopted and, you know, readopted. Some things change, some things don't include things like building without a permit, which would be that applicable portion. So that would be the main one. That would be, and then there's a sequence for if it gets into a code, Elise can speak better to this. If it goes to a code enforcement issue, there's notifications that are required and proper procedures so that you're not just applying it
I was
without the
And
notification.
on 3 Heather 2, we ended up looking at it like it's a new project. So we didn't process it like a revision, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, at a certain point, and I mean, this did apply to that, but the determination of whether there is a substantial remodel or not in a project, this is often a problem where somebody wants to go right up to the threshold, right up to the line of what would otherwise be new construction. And it often, in reality, when you're in construction, whether it's intentional or just dealing with the realities of construction, things are getting added on. And so for those projects that get to that point, that have kind of like a hair trigger for stepping over the line, we're trying now to be more cognizant of identifying those. Like, we're going to keep an eye on this so that we can notify you. Now, in this case, it exceeded that line extensively. It just was like thrown out the window. And so it really was an extreme case of just like, you know, there wasn't a lot of flexibility we could apply there. Yeah.
And like Commissioner Wagstaff said, they didn't call for inspections. So even if the inspector didn't even go out there, even if he was going for something else. So
Yeah.
that was unusual.
Because it would have been caught earlier if they'd gone for a framing.
At least.
Absolutely, yeah,
At
yeah.
least pointed out, you need to turn in revision documents at least. I think
Yeah.
he would have said that.
Yeah, and we have I mean, our policy is that when you have a scope of work that's approved, that's what you're supposed to build. If you want to change it, it's fine, but you shouldn't start doing that work until it's approved. Now, if we do sort of catch stuff in process, again, there's a little bit of flexibility, like, well, you know, I want to see the application. We need to get this reviewed. If for some reason something that in the review exposes what you're doing is not actually allowed, you're going to have to, you know, you proceed at your own risk to you know, in terms of those types of things. So, yeah, it's tricky.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Actually, one quick question. How do you value the value of a tree? How do you appraise the value of a tree?
You know, it's.
Value the
we call
appraised
them-
value of a tree. Like, how
call
do you
the
value it?
arborists. So the arborists, they have a method, like a published method in their,
It's like how much you cost to buy a new tree. Is that what it is?
well, it's sort of like appraisers use a certain formula that everyone uses the same type of formula. So
Yeah.
their formula is like that too. And I don't have that book, so I don't know what the factors are, but it has to do with the size of the tree and the health of the tree and the replacement cost of the tree and a number of different factors. But it's a standard that they use.
Okay.
Not to say that there wouldn't come up with different numbers, but we just get one arborist to go out and do the appraisal.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
Right. Next on the agenda are business items. We have to approve the July 8th and July 22nd Planning Commission meeting minutes.
Oh,
For the July 8th, I was
I
not
did, but I was
here.
already dry. Sorry, Alex had sent a revised. I know you sent me something revision, but I'd already left, and I couldn't see it on my phone. The highlighted areas in yellow. So, you know, I just had a couple of really small things. It just didn't make sense when I was reading them. To which one was it? Hang on, let me find your email. Oh, yes, okay. That's fine.
Which one is it? Is this September 8th or July 8th? July 8th, okay. And so.
Yeah, no, I see what you sent me now. Commissioner expressed her preference that the details and requirements of the easement were provided to the commission for review prior to making the required general plan conformity findings. Yeah. Because what I was trying to say was to ensure that basically the city was protected with the conditions in the easement. So that makes sense. And then the other one is Commissioner Chalmers stated.
Are
the
those edits
valuation-
in? Oh,
No, I just called Alex today and said,
oh.
can I make this?
Would you mind just like, I mean, feels like we should have those in.
Read the two sentences.
Yeah, just read those two sentences and, because I didn't have any issues with the rest of them, but.
So which page is it on, Alex?
Yeah, yeah, you can just see, this is what he sent me.
So the one we're talking about right now is page 2 of the July 8th minutes, and it currently reads, Commissioner Chalmers stated that the value of the property increases significantly when the obstruction of this land goes away for the adjacent owner. And then the revisions that I had sent her to see if it captured what she was saying was, Commissioner Chalmers stated that
That's
the
what-
valuation of
Just didn't make sense.
7,500 does not seem to take into consideration the financial benefit the adjacent owner would enjoy once they owned the property, which would exceed the sale price of $7,500. If this land were purchased by the adjacent owner at the time they bought their property, the market value of what they originally purchased would likely have been greater.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
fine
And
with
then
that.
the other one?
That was it. Oh,
The
Yeah,
other
the
one was just earlier on the page, and it's originally states, Commissioner Chalmers expressed discomfort and desire for the requirements to be included in the easement. It's the 7th line of the minutes on the second page. And I had the revised language would say, Commissioner Chalmers expressed her preference that the details and requirements of the easement were provided to the commission for review prior to making the required general plan conformity findings.
Are you good with the change?
yeah, I'm good with the changes.
I move to approve the July 8th minutes with Ms. Chalmers' changes.
I second.
Okay. Should we go ahead and approve the other one too?
Oh, let's vote on it.
No, I think you want to do them separately because July 8th has.
Changes. Oh, okay.
Commissioner Wagstaff,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher,
Abstain.
Commissioner Chalmers,
Yes.
Commissioner Hall.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
And then I can make a motion to approve the minutes of what was the other one?
July 22nd.
July 22nd.
I'll second.
Commissioner Wagstaff,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher,
Yes.
Commissioner Chalmers,
Yes.
Commissioner Hall.
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously.
Right. I see I have the August 8th in front of me too. Do we need to do anything about August 8th?
Not on the agenda.
August 8th.
Yeah, I have minutes for, these are the staff report for August 8th.
I didn't get them.
Oh, no. Okay, no, August 12th. I'm sorry, forget it. This was the penalties thing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's like,
my bad. Okay. Next item is planning commissioner reports. Do we have any? No. See none. Next item is adjournment. Next meeting, of the planning commission is 7 PM on September 9th.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
okay. Oh, Liam Campbell. Yeah.
I second.
Are we all going to be here for the September 9th meeting? Anybody not going to be here?
I think I'm here.
All right.
Double check. I'm sure I am too. All right, we are adjourned.
Record.
Thank you.